So we got another episode of the 50-50 here, and we got both sides of the coin today. We got Par and Sai. Look at that.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
tried to go for an intro, and that just
Yeah,
sounded
yeah.
weird. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're
And then
here.
right when we started, my son walked into the door. You know, he can open doors now.
Oh, that's kind of scary. Do you ever
Yeah.
like look at an open door and you don't assume it's your son, and you're like, holy shit, we're like haunted?
Well, our house has knobs. He can't do knobs just
Oh,
yet. But we went to our my sister-in-law's place, and she has like the handles, and he
yeah.
those are easy. She was freaked out because she was like, "Oh my God, who opened this door?" And I was like,
Who did
"It's
it?
that door handle." Oh, and it was super obnoxious. I like me and my wife had a whole conversation about this. Was like she bought this toy,
Yeah.
emphasis on toy, and my thing is like, yeah, my son like he like we don't do a lot of TV time, so like we get a lot more toys and we get like enriching stuff, but she is overzealous, I guess is the word for a lot of toys, and I'll look at these toys and I'll be like, this is not age appropriate, like
What
this
kind
is
of
just
what kind of
not
toys are we talking about?
like there's just some toys that are just more difficult, so they're like
Yeah.
for 5 years old
So
ish,
you
and
a Yu-Gi-Oh deck or something? Just something
it,
crazy.
it just requires a like not complex, like there's multiple reasons for a toy to be a 5-year-old like ish toy rather than a toddler's toy.
Yeah.
And some toys he can play with, that's for sure, and obviously the not talking about like the choking hazard ones. Obviously that's just choking hazards. If you're a toddler, you never know when they put stuff in their mouth
What is
because
a
they're
toy?
teething.
I'm like so curious.
There's just a few toys, but one of them was a toy, and it's supposed to work with like dexterity, and it's like a puzzle toy.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of locks. It's just a toy,
Oh.
like yeah, it's just okay. So it's like a wood like panel, and then there's a bunch of doors, and each door has like a different lock. So like think like think like a meme about like a hotel room with like 50 different locks. That's what she got, and
Funny
apparently it's a
enough, there's like a
popular.
mobile game about that.
It's it's just so silly. 'Cause I looked at it, I was like, "Are you joking?" And she's just like, "What? This is like everybody's getting this toy.
Einstein's favorite.
It's so good. It teaches them like all these like different problems." I was like,
Mozart
"Yes,
play with
but
this.
if he solves this, we can't lock any doors anymore." And she's like, "Yeah, but like it's so good for them, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I care for this."
That's like
Which is
imagine.
probably
Oh, dude, that's so funny. That's like getting your kid like a robber's play set, right? Like you got like victims there, and you got like a little play knife, and like, yeah, cool. My son's playing with it, but now he's gonna want to stab people.
well, it's funny you say that because
That's
like
funny.
um you know a huge thing right now is like back in our day we had a lot of toys labeled like these are not child safe and these
Yeah.
are child safe, and some of them were like sharp objects, and the logic, and it's very intuitive, is just keep sharp objects away from them, right?
Yeah.
But it's like if we do that, then it just like kind of they're capable of learning danger, so like you don't need to keep it away per se. Obviously, like with scissors there's the blunt object ones, and you can bring those, but a lot of people are bringing like our son has a play knife set for his kitchen, and I looked
Mm.
at that and I was just like, I don't know if we should have like, and she's like, no, like this is it's
He's
better
got to
to create this
learn.
relationship with like these objects, because then they'll be more like acclimated to these things in the future, and it'll be a lot easier for them to, whether it's in the like with tools or anything, they'll have better safety, better like logic, and a lot of people don't have that logic. Like like some people are just like, I don't know, like in home ec in school, or like in the workshop classes or whatever. There's just some kids that are just like, how did you live this long, right? And a lot of it comes from they never grew up with that, or the parents never taught them and stuff like that, or just they were super coddled or whatever. And like there's a whole degree to it, but like my son chops his own bananas for his oatmeal, and he like makes and prepares, like obviously with my wife's guidance, but like if you tell him we're making oatmeal and you put the right tools in front of him and you hand him the banana, he'll peel it and he'll chop it up, and he's not even two yet. And he'll put it in the blender. Obviously my wife will that does the blending part, but he'll put it in the blending thing. He doesn't have the dexterity to lift like milk or whatever to pour it in, but he'll know like, okay, milk goes into this bowl, I pour the milk into the blending thing, and then boom, then together they make a whole oatmeal thing. And so he basically makes his own breakfast and he prepares it. And I'm like, that's I mean, hey, that's way better than me. Like, honestly, that's really good for him to be like getting that kind of independent skill. And a part of that is that knife set where he knows, like, okay, the pointed side I don't hold, I hold the handle, and I don't touch people with the thing. And he's learning all about that. And he's able to a big thing is he's able to communicate with like language. So, like, if you have a child that's not at the language stage, it's a lot harder. But
How old do you think your kid has to be to like show them a scary movie?
mm, it depends what scary movie,
Like
honestly.
something that'd be scary for us.
Um, so like, okay, so
Not like a Scooby Doo horror movie, but like an actual like, oh my god, what the hell? You know?
yeah, so like super scary stuff, like I mean, you know it. There's like degrees to this thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's people can put a lot of things in the same scary movie bucket, and they're not necessarily scary. I think the main things is like gore. Like gore is
Oh yeah,
something
yeah, like
that,
Saw.
yeah. So gore, like a really great example of this is the difference between Jurassic Park and Planet of the Apes. I was watching both, and my son was present, and within 5 minutes I could not. I was like, oh, we can't watch Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes shows like the like blood and beating and like all that stuff, and I'm like, oh, like okay, this isn't fine. But Jurassic Park is that Jurassic World and Jurassic Park are actually really good for kids in a really interesting way. Because I thought, obviously, I don't think everybody should show their kids Jurassic World, and like it's like especially at one. I kind of accidentally did it. I didn't realize he was like paying attention, but it's like animal violence. Animal violence is a weird thing because it's natural, but it's still violence, right? But Jurassic World does a really interesting thing where they show you the violence without showing the violent part. So you understand that a dinosaur dies, but you don't see it
It's not
happen.
like
So when a
on
dinosaur
screen.
yeah,
That's
exactly. At
funny.
the moment it happens, and it doesn't feel like you miss anything. So when my son sees it, he's like, "Oh, the dinosaur!" Like he knows that they're fighting, but then when the dinosaur gets like killed, he goes, "Dinosaur sleeping," because they don't show any of the violent parts. And then like he understands that dinosaurs eat people, so he's like, "Oh, the dinosaur's eating," and that was the part where I was like, maybe I shouldn't show this, but like they didn't
No,
show the
no,
eating
no.
part.
Yeah.
Um, but
Damn.
and we were just like very like were very cognizant of like watching and seeing his reaction if something scared him. Obviously kids like they have like things can scare them easily, and sometimes it's not rational, a lot of times it's not logical, so you just have to pause, talk through it. And again, it's mainly because he's at a communication, like he can understand sentences and conversations. So like those movies are like they're only bearable for him because he can understand what's being said, right?
Now I'm kind of
Um,
wondering, like, what would be the best movie to train like a child soldier with?
Child soldier.
Yeah,
Um,
like you wanted this kid to like, I don't know, fight in a war or something for you. Like maybe it's not your kid, like you don't have that
yeah.
attachment. Like you just picked up a kid on the side of the road and you're like, damn, I want to like train this guy to be a killer one day. Not like a
I
serial killer,
haven't
but like like a monster on the battlefield.
yeah, I mean, I haven't watched a lot of content recently. I've been like super
Yeah,
off. I mean, the thing is like people talk about like Grand Theft Auto being like a gateway, right? Like to violence, but like
yeah.
so many things are. You don't even need like what like I don't know. You
Like
just
Coco
this
Melon could do
is
the job, to be honest, huh?
Coco Melon. Coco Melon is a good gateway for breaking down attention span. So like that's kind of what you'd need for like you know
That's like the
someone
first
who's able
step.
to just do something and forget, you know?
Ooh, like you watch Coco Melon and then your multi kill proficiency goes up. Like higher chance of getting a pentakill or something.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. By the time my kids old, like that age, there's not gonna be normal. Like, there's if you're going out in the field, you our countries hate you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have drones now. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the soldiers, you see that like they pull out. Remember in the Titanic sub, the Titan sub, whatever. But people are making fun of the PlayStation controller thing, and then like a bunch of military people came out like, wait, we actually
We use
like,
PlayStation controllers all the time for, submarines that go to the Marianas Trench. It's like, yeah, that's not a good thing, guys. Come on.
Yeah, well, they don't use the same, like they don't like the
Yeah, but the
like,
fact that they use a controller and not like one of those like sci-fi like dashboards with like 50 different buttons, it's like that's like cause for concern. Like if I walk into like a spaceship, for example, like like Elon Musk approaches me and says, "Hey, Sai, we're going to effing Mars." I'm like, "Oh hell yeah, Elon Musk!" And then I hop in the spaceship and he has a Switch. I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like you have a Nintendo Switch? Where's the dashboard?
Wild, but like a PlayStation, okay, so if they use the OEM like PS5 controller, fine. But they didn't. They used a third party like thing for the Titan sub because like it was $10. It's like, bro, just spend $150 on a good one.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like if it's out of your profession and you don't know too much about it, you always expect things to be like a little bit better or like well kept or like new. So I think that's the reason. Like you walk in and you see a PS5 controller, something you see on a day-to-day basis, and you're like, no, there's no effing way. Like it's like an alien, right? Like if an alien were to come to Earth, you expect that their spaceship is like freaking crazy, like 50 different colors, things you can't even comprehend, different language. But what if you hop in there, they have like a New Jersey accent, and they got like 5 bananas that they just steer around, and that's how they fly. It's like what the fuck is going on here? Like this isn't the alien I always envisioned it, like glorified.
Analogy aside, my take is like there are experts on like humanity has experts and like if the government wanted to make a social media company, they shouldn't just decide, okay, we're gonna put the president of the United States, the Department of Education, let's put their heads together and we'll make an app. No, they should get Twitter, Facebook, like Apple, Disney, get them together, make an app. Okay, like you know what I mean? They're the experts on social interaction. Similarly, the controller thing I get because okay, PlayStation and Xbox have been, well, Xbox fucking now sucks, but like they've curated a replacement for a keyboard and controlling a multifaceted 3D environment for 20 years now, if not more. So let's go to them as experts. But the problem with the Titan sub was they didn't even do that. They went to Amazon or eBay and bought the cheapest one, a third party thing. And it's like, okay, at least contact Sony or something. Like get the billion-dollar organization in on your multi-million-dollar, if not billion-dollar operation. That's what and that's what the US government does. The military doesn't get the $10 thing. They vet like, what's the best thing for our money. And they don't even do that. They don't even care about our money because like the lobby the lobbyists or lobbyers like was it bullets are like 150 times like market price just so that the taxpayers pay more. You know what I mean? It's like some shit like that, where like you'll see a video like I don't know if you've seen these videos where the military like will show like their turrets on a gun, like a turret on a boat going off. And then someone in the comments is like, that's $150 million right there. Like that 10 seconds of that gun going off, they'll put the price tag on it. And they're not lying. Like if you sat through like a Congress hearing about it, they've gone through some of the pricing. And then some of the people are like, wait, so I can go to Walmart and buy bullets for like I don't know the pricing of things. You probably know more. But like they'll say a price and then you're telling me the military's paying 10x 100x on these same bullets, the bag of bullets, and it's like, wait, shouldn't it be the opposite? But it's not because
they're not efficient, bro.
Yeah, and I mean that's the logic with like most of our structures.
Yeah, I mean like we don't want to get too political on here, but in the past couple of weeks, ever since election, I have been tuning into like some news sites just to see like what they've been like reporting and stuff like that. Cross matching all the different references. And I realize that whenever they have like these quote experts or panelists come in and like they're from out of state and they're like, oh, like calling in is Dr. Jay Garcia. And it's like, oh,
no.
that's awesome. And then you see
Oh,
like
no.
have you ever seen have you ever seen these guys? Like every news show, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, like all of these, ABC, like all these guys, for some reason, it feels like they're still using Skype or like TeamSpeak or something when they're calling in, because like they disconnect, they lag, it's like, 120p, and I'm like, guys, like I get it, right? Discord is for gamers, gooners, whatever you want to call them, but just use Discord, man. Like it always shocks me when I see like, oh, like here's this guy that makes $5 million, he's calling in, and then he's like, Jessica, I'm breaking up. And like it's like, dude, what the hell's going on? Like these guys look like buffoons. I never understand. Like I understand why. Like I saw 3 different statistics from 3 different people actually, and it said that a lot of Gen Z and like a lot of kids and millennials, they're starting to not watch the news, and they're starting to get like all their news, political news, and everything from social media and from content creators. And it's like, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, one, because obviously it's curated, right? No matter what your tastes are, you're most likely going to go to whoever side you're on. So you're just going to get more of that. But at the same time, it's because the quality is just better. It's just better overall.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a small background thing on me is like I've been involved or adjacent to or aware of politics since like I was 5, like I knew senators, congresspeople, mayors, whatever. And watched a lot of news ever since I was young. Like dad put me into a lot of that stuff, and I'm given my place in content creation as well. Like I've watched Twitch grow as a platform since its creation, YouTube as well. We watched Philip DeFranco, and like when I think it was like 8 years ago, I don't forget how long ago when I started Philip DeFranco, but like the fact that even let's say a decade ago on YouTube, there's a guy named Philip DeFranco who has at that time he had no.
I love and hate Phil.
Like he's great. He's always great. He's had roller coasters of how his content is put out. He's changed, he's developed, he's self-reflected a lot. I think for the most part he's kind of stable now as far as what he's doing, because he has like a massive team behind him now. But before he had a team, and before he had like Discover, or I don't know who he has now as his not content provider, but whatever, the MC, like essentially his MCN. Before he had all that, the fact that there was a guy on YouTube who people would see as like more of a radical / independent, like shouting guy on the internet, the fact that he had more integrity as this random dude on the internet, like it blew my mind, because I would watch Fox, I would watch CNN, I'd watch MSNBC, NBC, and it's just like I don't think any serious person can look me in the eyes and tell me that there's a single one of them that has integrity across the board. Maybe there's one person, maybe there's 2 people, maybe there's certain segments that you like, but I've watched so much of it in the last few years that it's like there's not a single one of them. And maybe like I mean, Fox was the one that had the most scrutiny, especially during Trump's presidency, mainly because Trump kind of like skewed them, and like the relationship between Trump and the media kind of like made it a whole clown fest because of the what's it called, the press hearings, where he would just meme on people with their questions.
Oh, I love it.
And then he would keep them from the thing, and then on top of that, it was just like they're a ratings thing. So your ratings drop, boom, it is what it is. But then when Fox, like, they got litigated for not being a news organization but being called, they like declared themselves a news organization, but they like lost their press thing for a little bit because they were an entertainment thing, and that whole thing got litigated. After that, I think Fox got better, like in terms of like how they presented themselves, because they weren't like sugarcoating things anymore. And that's where all the other ones are more problematic because they're like trying to be like, yo, we're straight up news, we're the facts. And like, even my dad, who's like more of a Democrat, he's like, bro, this shit is so garbage. They're lying to our face. And I'm like,
Every news
it's
site
not,
is like they're going
yeah,
for either candidate, right? Like either you go on one thing, you get like great Harris news, or you go on another
yeah,
one, you get like the same news, but it's about Trump and it's better. Like I feel like there's no news organization that's not biased. And sure, like the
yeah,
YouTubers you watch, they're definitely gonna be biased. Like Philip DeFranco, for example, right? Like
yeah,
everybody has a bias. It's just like who gives it to you the most in the most palatable way. Like
yeah.
that's kind of what
Or
it boils down to.
like I like to put an example, right? Where like this is probably most related to
Like
the
it gets
people in our
nasty
community.
every 4 years, bro.
Yeah, yeah. And like an example that me and you constantly have to deal with as YouTubers in the One Piece space is it's one thing for us to like put out our ideas and our thoughts and our opinions and theories and whatever, but it's a whole different thing to just blatantly reference the source material incorrectly. If we ever did that, if you and I had said like, "Oh, the reason why Loki is chained up is because he killed Roger." It's like if we're not getting called out on that, um, then or not that our community would call us out, and it's so easy to check on that. But the thing is, like with the politics stuff, it's one hard for people to fact check, but then also two, like you wouldn't think that they'd just
You
be
don't want people
blatantly
to fact check at the same time.
yeah, and it's just it's a lot harder than with the manga where you just go to it and be like, wait a second,
And
Loki
that's
never
true
did
for both
that.
sides, honestly. Like
Yeah, yeah, 100,
it's
especially now,
crazy.
especially in 2024. Like
It's like I saw somebody say it and it's I mean it's true. It's always been like this, but it's like having sports teams that you enjoy, right? Like
mhm.
it's I feel like whether you're Democrat, Republic, or even in the middle, like it is like sports teams. Like it's who you're betting on in a way. Like people are ride or die. Like there's
Yeah.
no like middle ground anymore, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, that's the case where it's like, I mean, we talked about this off call, but like, I mean, radical, like, radical breeds radical. And so the more radical you get, the more opposite you'll get on the opposition. And then the more unlikely there is to be a middle ground until there's a clash, right? And the problem with peacetime is that we postpone the clash or we don't know how to facilitate like a restructuring or like
What we should do,
like
we
a
should put them in a ring and just have them fight. Like the winning side just becomes a dominating party for like 500 years or something.
yeah, and then there's the other side where it's like as far as the government goes and the politicians go,
It's
it, like
gladiatorial.
largely the career ones. That's why people like Trump, right? And it's that Trump doesn't feel like a career politician. It's harder to say in 2024 where he's at because he's a little bit he behaves a lot more like a career politician rather than his first run. Um, but that could just be his experience now, which, like I think a lot of people can say, like, another example would be there are certain things that he's gotten as a content creator, which that's what he originally was, is a content creator. Like he's so content brained. But like when he got the assassination thing, right? The way he reacted to that wasn't just a content creator. That was straight up politician, right? The way he got up, the way he reacted, his focus on like, on reassuring the people that he was okay, right? Like there was a Reagan. Reagan did the same thing, or was it Reagan? Oh, no, Nixon. Nixon got shot at, and he's then the next time he had a rally, he had a balloon pop or something, or someone shot at him, I forget, and he was like, "You missed," right? That's not just content brain, that's politician brain, and it's very hard to get there. You have to be very trained or born a specific way. But like now, this career not career this election cycle, Donald Trump was way more career politician oriented, which isn't a bad thing, because he's wasn't a career politician, right? Versus like
Yeah.
the Republicans and Democrats who are career politicians. Like I think most people would think that they're just on the same team, just wearing different colors, and that's why there was and is a huge appeal for a Donald Trump over a Kamala, because it's like, yeah, like Kamala had nothing going for her, and then on top of that, it's like you're just a career politician, so we're just gonna get the same thing, right? So yeah, there's
Yeah,
all
it
that
was
stuff,
interesting, bro.
but
There's
going
a
back to the whole like social media
yeah.
trend and news, like I think I've said this before on the podcast, but like social media is going to take over way harder than most people
It
realize.
already
And
is.
yeah, it is, but I think it's been like 10 years now since I said this to my brother, and I said this on the podcast before, was that we're gonna start getting politicians who are Twitch
YouTubers.
streamers.
Like
Yeah, YouTubers and
we'll
Twitch
get like
streamers.
whether it's like, 10 or 20 years or 30 years from now, like a lot of politicians who run for office, it's going to be like, "Oh, by the way, when this guy was like a kid, he had a Minecraft channel." Or,
Yeah,
"Oh, this guy
yeah,
had like a Fortnite channel. Like he got some crazy trick shots, you know?" Like I
yeah,
feel like that's going to be like more normalized. And
yeah.
it's I don't
100%.
think there's anything wrong with that either.
Yeah, it's just the pathway towards it, right? Like Mr. Beast is a great example because he teased his notion towards wanting to become president, and he's kind of disappointed many with like his tweets about it because was super surface level, but it's like my guy is like mid 20s now, like that's like the expectation of like what a politician in their
Here
20s would be like.
what
But
what content would you not want a career politician to like produce? Like
like start off as,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think there's a gatekeep. I mean, we hate pranksters, obviously, but the
Yeah,
thing
well,
is, it's
what if
like,
they were like going around pranking people, like, "Oh, like I gave this homeless person $20, but it's fake, and there's also a bomb underneath it." Like what if that was the content they produced?
yeah, I mean, then they'd get canceled, right? Like that's the
Yeah,
thing with cancellation, is like the word has been bastardized, but like in reality, being canceled as a creator only applies if your own community cancels you, right?
yeah,
So that's when becoming a politician as a content creator would shift that dichotomy. You wouldn't be able to become a politician from a content creation if you had been canceled outside of your community, right? That's when the cancellation thing actually matters. And a lot of people, and that's where the frame of cancellation is actually more problematic, because like a lot of people like are not falsely canceled, but like we over cancel in a lot of cases, and it's like, bro, like this thing, it's not this thing, but some of these things are like
nothing.
uh not nothing, but more so like forgivable, right? Like if we
Yeah,
don't, like people need to be more forgiving, and people don't want to be, and it's like people need to be able to grow from certain things, and there's a lot of things that are forgivable even on the macro level, and it might like, yeah, you're not like, nobody's asking you to be friends with these people, but like we shouldn't like smother them from existence because they fucked up as a 20-year-old, right? Like so many people do, and like they need to exist. That's what society is. Yeah, you don't need to be best friends with them, right? Like,
it
but the
depends how
reality
easy it
is,
is to like smother him out, right? Like I've thought about it pretty often, but if there was like an Alice in Borderlands laser beam that just fell from the sky and just erased people, I think that'd be pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, that's the One Piece method. That's what politicians want to do. That's what politicians
I
want.
think
But
there's
like,
another oh, it's not like a big anime. It's like Slime Isekai. It's not even correlated, but I remember they have like this ability. It's called Agido, where they like throw up
yeah,
like this water ball in the sky, and like just a
and just,
concentrated beam of water just hits you in the head and you're done. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
imagine
yeah,
we
yeah.
had that and we just like got rid of all the criminals right away. Would you do it?
It was also ran by AI.
Yeah, it was ran by.
That's
Oh, you
just,
watched it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you a Slime Isekai fan?
Yeah, I'm current with manga.
Dude, people love Slime Isekai.
It's it's really good. I think it's really good. It's the anime was bad because, and then they do too much fan service and they take too long. So I'm just manga now, and I
Yeah.
think Slime wins for being an early adopter. I feel like if they were a more recent one, they wouldn't get as much notoriety. But the thing with Slime is it's well thought out. That's my main thing with it. It's
Yeah.
all the isekai stuff that has more to it than just being reborn in another place and having powers usually is good. That's kind of like if you look at if you name an isekai to me right now and we just talk about it, I guarantee you the good ones are just they just have something outside of isekai that just carries them, right? Like Jobless, it also has so much outside of just being reborn into another place, right? Like the powers are cool, like they have like the saints and like the power structure, and there's so much mystery in it. There's that weird god person there. There's like a lot of cool stuff behind it that is really interesting, which is ironic because right now most of the current last like year and a half, 2 years of content has been completely separated from that. For the most part, he's been dealing with like erectile dysfunction. So
Oh,
like,
that's hilarious. Man, people are
yeah,
too sensitive about that. I was laugh. You know, I did like reactions on Mushoku Tensei, and when Rudius went through his erectile dysfunction arc, man, I was laughing, bro. That shit was so funny. And then people
yeah,
were like, "Oh,
yeah.
Sai, you're so insensitive. Like, this is a traumatic moment. Rudius almost killed himself because of this." It's like, dude, that's hilarious, man.
Oh, you were making fun of him. You were
Oh
making fun of
yeah,
him.
dude. I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
from one guy to another, just like, you know, seeing some dude go through erectile dysfunction in the anime, and then you got like this brother guy like coming over, like, hey, dude, let's take you to a brothel. Like that's funny, man. I
yeah.
I think I think that's pretty funny.
I think, yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember making fun of it, but like more so because like he just is dumb. Like he just didn't understand. He was all from a misunderstanding.
Yeah, a misunderstanding that I think most people would be able to sniff through. And then
Yeah,
when you
and
take into
he's
consideration
still,
that he's like a 40-year-old guy or mid 30s or something like that, it's like, okay, come on, Rudius.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's the
Like
other
you
part
you
too. Is that,
watch anime, you read rom-coms, brother. Like you're telling me you don't know what the hell this message means? What are you,
yeah,
stupid?
and then yeah, that's the other thing. Like I watch that show almost at like I separate from the part that it's an isekai. Like I forget sometimes that this guy was reborn as a 40-year-old, like was a 40-year-old whatever thing. And then I'm like, damn, this guy's really dumb. Like how did he's so lucky he's cracked. Was I forget, is he was born talented,
He
like
was born
reborn
cracked,
talented.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like he
that's like
trained,
the
but he got like a crazy ability very early on, which is to be able to which now we're getting into anime talk, but he can cast magic without saying and doing like the whole incantations and spiels. Like he can just
yeah,
cast magic,
yeah. And like at it like
which
with
I guess
insane
isn't.
power.
Yeah, it's an insane power in the verse,
No, no,
but it's
like
a
on
power
top
that
of that,
people
like
could
he has
kind
like
of get.
10x. He has like 10x buff also, right?
Yeah, yeah. Overall, he's just like a little bit more powerful than your everyday guy. And plus, like since he was you know, sentient as a kid, he like trained up at a very early age, so he's like a
He
prodigy.
okay, I don't like it's not spoilers, but like it is a little bit like but it's a spoiler from like the first season or second
Oh, that's
season, I
fine. There's
think.
like 2 seasons now. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
drop
like
it.
now they're like on the third or whatever. Like or they went I
It's
think they
it's still the second season. So a lot of animes are doing this nowadays where they split up their second seasons or seasons into two parts. I think Dandadan's doing that. ReZero's doing that. Like a lot, like Sakamoto Days is doing that, and yeah, Mushoku Tensei did the same thing where they did 12 episodes, take a break, and now they did another 12, and now it's over.
yeah.
Like I think it's pretty
Yeah.
smart. Give the animators time
Yeah.
to rest and like cook up a better season overall.
Yeah, I
But
think
what
a
were you
lot
gonna
of
say?
the
Like season one spoiler?
oh yeah, it's just that like recently and I don't know if I forgot, but like he can also see the future with his left.
Oh, that's let's yeah, he has an ability where he can like see the future for like a couple seconds. It's like future sight hockey from One Piece, but it's not super well utilized in the anime season
Yeah,
2.
or
Like you kind of just
manga.
assume he's always using it, but like we don't like see it. But yeah.
Well, it's yeah. You assume that he's always using it, but he's also like never like it's never a thing, and it's such a
Yeah.
cracked power. Like it was given to him by a god, and he's just
Well,
like
he doesn't know it was given to him by a god. He was just kind of like, I think he learned it after the fact, but at the time he's like, oh, you're gonna give me like an eye? Okay, whatever.
yeah, and it was hard. Like I liked that part because it was just like okay, you have this power and you have to train it. It's not just a given power. You have to like, and it was very taxing. And as a kid, he learned it, But I'm sure this power would have been hella useful the last like few arcs, just a little bit. I think he used it once on the war god guy, the guy that was related to the god that gave him the eye.
Oh
The guy
yeah.
like the guy who came to the school or whatever, like the really cracked guy. Yeah, I liked the school arc. I thought the school arc was really funny. Obviously the fan service is gonna be wild, but I just like I can tolerate fan service stuff in manga. I can't tolerate it in anime, and it's just yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
all in
fair.
all, it's
Which, I guess I never asked you this question at all. Like in these past 3 or 4 years. I mean, we've talked about a lot of anime, but
yeah.
what's your favorite anime?
Favorite
Like
anime?
personal favorite, not like, oh, like generic for, if I'm recommending something, but like for you personally, what do you enjoy?
Uh,
You can include One Piece if you want, but like it could be, whatever. Like show some personality. Show some
yeah.
flair.
I mean, One Piece is like a sentimental reason, right? Because it's been there. That was all my life, you know. So that doesn't really count. As far as like which is my favorite of all time, anime.
Yeah.
Uh, it's hard, but I think like I think I'd have to go with Code Geass. I think Code Geass is like
Oh,
my
that's a
number
classic.
one. Yeah, that's my like number. But the thing is, there's so many things around that time that if like someone reminded me of them, I'd be like, "Ooh, wait a second." But like
Yeah,
Code Geass
yeah.
is like the memorable one that like because that one was so good that I was watching it and I remember my brother walking by and he just stood there for like 5 minutes and he got hooked in and he was studying for the SATs and he just completely ignored it and he said like all right, you're watching this, and now that you brought me in on this, we have to binge watch it because I don't have time for this. So we just binge watched all of Code Geass together in like 3 days, and it
Code
was that
Geass is
good.
still
It was
going on.
yeah, and it came back, and I watched some of it. I didn't get to finish the latest season, but even that was super enjoyable. And the fact that like they didn't age up the plots from what I saw, like the plot is kind of like basic like copy from before and it was still enjoyable. Like it was just
Oh
like it
yeah.
was like carbon copy early Code Geass and very simple stuff, but it was still that enjoyable. And I could what I mean by that is like I could tell as like as an adult like oh like this is a like it's made for a younger audience. I could tell, but I still enjoyed it. And it's like nostalgia, but it was also cool and there was like action, politics, like it was a lot of crazy stuff
That's a good
for
ending
a
too.
kid show. Yeah, and I haven't gotten to it, but I have it
There's
on my
the
tabs.
original. I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing. As a series from back in the day, they ended it well.
Yeah.
They like
It
that
ended
was
really well.
so rare for series
It
back
was kind
then.
of abrupt in my opinion, but it was still a really good ending.
Yeah. Yeah. It was abrupt, but it was a good abrupt. It
Yeah.
wasn't like everything's happy. It wasn't like, oh, you know all the answers.
It
It
was I
wasn't
would say
like
it was kind of a happy ending. Like he did
yeah, I mean,
get what he wanted.
it was a happy ending, but they didn't explicitly tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that opened the door for like the spin-offs and later
The
stuff and
movies.
like yeah, and the movies, which was great, which is great. But and like I'm thinking like Promise Neverland, right? Promise Neverland would have benefited if they ended it in Code Geass fashion, at least if they like if they ended
Promise Neverland's funny.
I'm not even talking about the third season, but like let's say the third season or whatever season it was, the part before everyone knows if they finished it, the PowerPoint part. If they just ended the series before that PowerPoint, it would have been better, easily, and that would have been more in line with Code Geass, where it would just been like okay, like things are figured out and things are like good for the main character's pathway and their goal was succeeded, but we don't know the fallout. Promise Neverland tried to end it like here's how this happened, here's how this happened, and they give you a PowerPoint, and it's like, bro, this is all bullshit. Just fucking kill it. Just end it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Code Geass did that, that would have been terrible, but they didn't. And I think a lot of series actually had something like that, but like I'm thinking like Death Note, right? Like Death Note ended with a good stop, but they ended with like the main character fucking crashing out. And it's like most series wouldn't do that either, right?
Death Note was great. I just didn't. I know it's like a cliche, everybody says it, but I really didn't enjoy the series as much after L died. Like if I'm okay
Oh,
with L
yeah.
dying, but if they introduced better characters than Nier and Mello, I'd enjoy it more. I really liked that one guy who's like a news reporter, and he was like, you know, Kira's disciple. I think he was great. I think the newscaster woman that he also got to his side was great. But like as far as
Like
like
the goth
the
girl?
you're talking about like Mikasa. Or not Mikasa. No, sorry, I'm getting Mikasa mixed up. Because that's like the goth
Mika.
Attack on Titan thing. Mika, yeah.
Yeah,
Mika.
was her
I think
name
she's
Mika?
fine, but she got tossed to the side near the end. And we
Yeah.
replaced her for another girl, which I think was fine. But it was just like Nier and Mello were just not great L replacements.
Yeah.
Like when you have a
They
character
were-
like L, you set the bar high. Nier and Mello, like they weren't bad, but they just weren't L. I think is my problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
I think Death Note, a lot of people like
Great
you said,
show,
it's a
though.
cliche to say like you didn't like that part of the second season or whatever. I think a lot of people didn't like the second. I actually heard people who said like they don't like Death Note because of the second season or whatever it was. Yeah, it was the second season. But yeah, I think at least the redeemable part about post L is that if you look at it as a means to the end, where like that end was like only achievable by flawed like opponents,
Yeah.
then I think it's fine because like Light got what he wanted, but he crashed out in a way, and like towards the end, and he ended up like I forget the full ramifications, but there was a whole bubble the last episode, 2 episodes, where it was just like it wasn't necessarily was it Nier and the other person their doing. It was like his own undoing of himself and his own character flaws. But
His follower was too he was too zealous is what it was.
yeah, and like that's what was interesting, because like it was Light's followers and L's followers that ended up being like the more focal part, but we kept Light in the show and not L. And so like we just had this like Sasuke Naruto rivalry, Goku Vegeta, but no fighting. It's just like thinking. And like and then like they did a cool thing where they lived together, and like that was so sick, and then they were fighting each other. Like that was it, and then you just lose it, right? So like once you lose it, nothing will ever feel good. And so it's like, but then if you bring up half the duo, then it's like, man, I want the other half, and you can't just replace the other half with like two not has-beens, but like shoddy replacements, right? So it's like it makes sense that they wouldn't be great placements, but that's where it's like I think the ending was so good or fine that like I can forgive like that part. But yeah, there was a few. I mean, it's been a while since I watched like that part of Death Note to like really remember, but.
I think
All
I
I
try to
remember is-
revisit Death Note like I think maybe once every 2-ish years. It's such a good series, man. I think I would have Death Note in my top 10.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah,
I think Death
easily.
Note, Code
It's
Geass
such
are
a great show.
permanent locks. I don't think that there's series that like live up to the psychological warfare that those played out.
Psychopass does. Psychopass, another one in my
Psy-
top 10. Love Psychopass.
Psychopass 100% does.
I would argue
It's
that
just the-
Psychopass is a great society.
Yeah, I think Psychopass. I think the difference
about
is the
Psychopass so much.
Is, wait, what? What happened?
I said we always bring up Psychopass. I feel like this is like maybe our 5th time, like either on this podcast or like on our One Piece podcast, but just always bring it up. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, Psychopass is the thing is Psychopass like it's built off the shoulders of giants. It's very clearly built off of Code Geass, Death Note, Monster, like those kinds of shows as classics. And then Psychopass is kind of like a culmination of like so much. It's just sad that it's not as popular as it should be. And yeah, I mean, like the thing is like I don't know why. I don't know why like the first and second seasons weren't as popular as they feel like they should be. Given that Death Note and Code Geass are so widely popular, because Death Note, Psycho Pass has like the mechs, it has technology, but it also has like just the straight up psychological warfare, and it's not like Death Note had gore-ish stuff, so it's like I don't think that Psycho Pass
I think it's just
gore.
marketing.
Yeah, I guess it is just marketing, but like, oh, man, it's just sad that like Psycho Pass is so low regarded on the thing. Because I would put Psycho Pass in top 10. I would put it top 10. I've always enjoyed Psycho Pass.
Yeah, no, it's such a great show. Like, and I think the villains, they live up to the standard too. Like we talked about Nier and Mello not living up to L, but I'd say in Psycho Pass, yeah, sure, some of them aren't as strong as the others, but they're all at least pretty up there, I would say.
Yeah,
like they're all pretty decent.
You know what? I'm actually gonna do a crazy thing, and this isn't anime, but I think it is relevant for us to segue into since it's recent stuff. And I'm pretty sure you're watching it.
Arcane.
Arcane. Yeah.
Arcane's good. Oh man, which I assume we're going to talk about Arcane spoilers for the first 6 episodes of season 2.
I'm down. Yeah, I mean, because Arcane.
So spoiler alert, guys. We're going to talk about the first 6 episodes of season 2.
And if you hit this part, and this wasn't planned, but like it should have been planned that we were going to talk about Arcane, because we need to talk about Arcane.
And we play League of Legends, so we're like, nerds in that regard.
Yeah, and I've literally this is how amazing of a show it is, and some people in the One Piece community we're like, hey, Pa, are you watching Arcane? And it was just funny because it's like I kind of have to, because I played League of Legends. Like if you played League of Legends and you don't watch Arcane, there's something wrong with you, I feel like, because then you just like the bad parts of League. And that's how I described it to them. I said League of Legends is the One Piece of the gaming world, because it's the largest game in the world and it's been there for so long that they now can do everything. They can make shows,
and the lore
other
is like
games, fighting games.
It's more intertwined than One Piece even, I would say.
Yeah, and the thing about Arcane is that the reason why it's so good is because League of Legends is owned by China's like Facebook, Disney combined, Tencent, and they are a media company who they were like, okay, we make media, we make movies, we make music, but we're not going to rely on ourselves. We're going to hire Marvel to teach our studios how to make content. And that's
I forgot about that.
When Prime Marvel, this is before Phase 4 was drafted, Tencent hired Marvel to train Riot Games in lore, story, and they reworked all. That's when League of Legends reworked like probably half the cast at the time in terms of story and design, based off of that training. And I knew people who went in and came out like, bro, this is insane. And I'm like, that's wild. And this is pre-Marvel. This is like pre-Marvel full Disney acquisition. So like, I think Tencent got the benefit of both Marvel and Disney, and they have enough money to hire both, which is wild. And then they announced, and I don't know if you remember this timeline, this is when Riot Games was like, we're going to have Project A, B, C, O, and you guys don't know what it is. And when they announced that there was a TV show, everyone's like, this shit's going to be whack, like all the other game TV show adaptations. And then Arcane Season 1 dropped and was like, oh my God. And then, this is how good of a series it is that people outside of League of Legends who were like, oh, League of Legends, that's for nerds, that's for losers. And they watched Arcane and they were like, I want to play League of Legends now.
Don't do it.
And they know. And that's where I told the One Piece people, I was like,
League.
League of Legends is the opposite of One Piece, where One Piece is so good and we're all out there, we're like, hey, you should try our series. Oh, you should come to One Piece, blah, 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 blah. The Reverie, blah, blah, blah. League of Legends is a complete opposite. If you are a League of Legends fan, your role is to get everybody out of League. Don't join, don't play the game.
Don't hop in. It's a time sink, man. It's a time sink. It's not worth it.
And we just
but I still play anyways.
I want good players. Get your ass out of here.
I haven't played League in like a long time. I hit Plat, which not the best considering there's like a lot of tiers to it. But I stopped playing and I came back the other day. Brother, I'm in Bronze. I need to climb up.
no.
I'm so sad. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm climbing fast, but it was just sad seeing like I have to like start from the bottom. But I think they have a system where like if you win a bunch of games, they can like tell like, oh, like you don't belong here. So I've been rising
Yeah.
quick, but man, League is
Yeah.
don't do it,
So-
guys. Don't do it.
Arcane. So and Arcane season 1, I had already stopped playing League by that point. For health reasons, and I was busy and stuff. Like it's just time sink, and like I need to get a job and stuff like that, which is so obnoxious because
The classic League player. I need to get a job.
If I was 3 years younger, or even 2 years younger, I would have gotten a full ride to college. The college my wife went to just opened a esports facility, and there's a whole half for League of Legends, and you get full ride and everything. And I would have gotten, I could actually apply to be a coach right now if I wanted to, and like I could get paid for this. And I'm like, bro, if I was just 2 years younger, I knew people who were plat 1 that got full ride to because they were playing on the collegiate teams, and at the time the collegiate teams were getting paid out the ass. They still are, but you didn't need to be diamond, and I was diamond 3 accounts, everything, all roles. And I was just like, bro, like I am just missing the bubble. If I was a little bit older, then I might have tried for an esports team, and if I was a little bit younger, then I would have been on a collegiate team. And I was just in that weird bubble where I was like just graduated. It wouldn't have made sense for me to continue playing like the way I was. I got married as I was like, I'm gonna put League in the background. Then I got diagnosed with cancer and I started playing again. I got all my things back to
You
diamond.
wanted to spread the cancer to other people, huh?
Yeah, no, I was way more toxic after my diagnosis for sure. Because
Yeah,
I
you
was
got
just
nothing
like,
to lose, man.
well, no, it wasn't even about that. I was like, bro, like I literally was like, bro, you're wasting people's lives. You don't know who's dying of cancer. And,
I'm
like,
dying, and you're wasting my time by running it down mid.
yeah, no, that's literally what it was. I wouldn't run it down, but like I would hard carry, and then I would just like, I'd be way more. I would report people a lot more for sure, and then I was very militarized against bot accounts. So like people who buy accounts and people who were who were
I
elo
report
boosting.
a lot, dude.
Oh, elo boosters! I probably like 60 accounts
I
in
don't even,
like 3
I don't even
months.
type anymore, dude. I just like if I see some dumb shit, I just report. I'm like, you're
Yeah, like
cooked.
half of
Because
my-
League, they listen.
Yeah, no, yeah, and then half
They're
of my
fast.
friends list was Riot Game members, and so I would just that I never used it like that up until after. I was like, no, this account elo boosting, and then I just get the notification, this account has been suspended. This account has been. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck this guy. You spent.
It's a nice message to
5
get.
Gs on this account.
I feel like
Yeah,
a snitch,
get-
but like I'll log in and they're like, oh, like the person you reported, they received a penalty or they got banned. I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
League
yeah,
is
yeah,
listening. Thank God.
But anyways,
'em outta here.
on Arcane, yeah, the Arcane season 2 is so good, and they are doing it in a great way, which I love. They're doing 3-episode distribution at once
Yeah.
every week. You get 3 episodes, and I love this new system, and I hope they do this.
The
to
last
everything.
3 is
They've been-
tomorrow.
Last 3 is tomorrow, so we'll obviously talk about more about it. But I love it because now it's like a happy medium between binging and then, but keeping the community together. Because if people binged it, then or like if you put 9 episodes out, there's some people who would binge it and then they'd have all their conversations within a week, and some people can't watch 9 episodes in a week, right? But they can watch 3. 3's more doable.
Yeah.
And so now,
And it's better than
have
just
a-
doing 1 episode a week too, because at that point, like you're not getting enough to like talk about.
yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly.
They found like a
And-
happy medium.
And I've honestly been telling people like, hey, I can't stop you from playing League anymore. Like this season's so good.
It's good, man.
Go-
And they
go at it.
released the skins, dude. Like the Vi skins out, the J skins, whatever. But like, yeah, they
hate
got the
J
skins for all the characters. I'm like, bro, that's good.
Dude, Arcane was 6 episodes
Arcane's killing
deep,
it.
3 episodes
Did you-
left. I'm caught up.
What's up?
Are you excited?
Oh, dude, I'm excited. I was about to say like, there's 3 episodes left, and I don't know if you heard, but
I haven't heard anything.
so there's no season 3 of Arcane. They said that during season 1. They said they've always planned for this to be 2 seasons, and it's wrapped up. So there's not gonna be season 3, but They did say that there's going to be many more stories in this same universe, though, around the world. And
that
the
makes
CEO
sense.
or the co-CEO or something like right below the CEO. But the guy said that while season 2 of Arcane is playing, they have multiple shows already in the works.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like I'm ready for it, man. Like show me Noxus, show me Garrett, like show me like so many different people, please. Like
When
even
Arcane,
Zed and like the Chinese, bro, bring him in.
Dude, so here's the thing, right? If people don't understand League of Legends and the world it is, even as a player, some people don't pay attention to the lore, but like before they even reworked it, there were so many worlds to it, and Arcane season 1 already shows you the correct formula of doing multiple storylines that Marvel needs to take like notes from, because, and it's ironic because they studied from Marvel, but like if
Marvel was never super good at it in my opinion. Like they had like spots of brilliance, but and then other times it's like we could have done that.
Right. So like but the difference that I think that a lot of people can relate to, as far as if you were ever in the Marvel MCU fandom, not the comics. Comics are a whole different beast.
Yeah, comics
right?
are different. Yeah,
comics don't count. We're talking about cinematics. The cinematic universes is you have to handle it differently. The time and effort it is to create multiple universes in a cinematic form is way harder, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people can agree that as far as phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of Marvel, they cared a lot more about Thor and Black Panther and like Captain America, and they would watch all the different storylines even if they were disconnected. You didn't need to watch all of the different movies to watch the Avengers. Like there was enough contextual stuff. You could just watch the Avengers. Yeah, sure, you'd miss some things, but it wasn't like the movie was incoherent, right? And then phase 4, that completely flopped. Phase 4, I don't even know if they're into phase 5, but going into the separate TV shows, the way Marvel released those TV shows, it made so many people not care. Like Loki was great, but then you lost interest because you put garbage like I'm not gonna say garbage, some people liked it, but like
it was garbage. Hawkeye was awful, dude. I already knew what you were gonna say before you even said it. I was like, yeah, Hawkeye was trash. You got like a bunch of like Gen Zers as the main villain. They're taking this superhuman serum. It's like, okay, I'm clocked out, dude. I'm gone.
Like the thematics of it was fine. We talked about it. The thematics of it were fine, but the difference is like when you're creating a world that's multi-dimensional, and like then you're like, okay, refugee politics, like and all this real world shit that you're trying to do, it loses its gravity when you're trying to make us care, when like there's Thanos level, God level stuff, and then the only things that like Miss Marvel was kind of like mixed review. Like some people liked it, some people didn't. There was a cultural aspect that I didn't really care for either. I finished it. It was fine. They had the dimensional stuff, but then like the dimensional stuff was set up for also like in line with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which flopped. And so when you fumble the higher stuff and you fail to create like a framework that you care about, and Arcane's doing a great thing where they're separating it out and you're making you care about all these different storylines within a world. And then they're like, okay, here's another world that we're going to focus on. And the thing is, what League is going to do, or Riot Games or whatever, is that they're going to do Arcane. And then, like you said, they're going to do Noxus. Then they're going to probably do like the Underworld. And then they're going to do a whole, I forget what the Zed storyline, what their
it's essentially like Mortal Kombat, but yeah,
but they have different names for it, and like all these characters, they share completely different things, and they don't split your focus. They're not going to split your focus. What they're going to do is they're going to split your focus within each world, rather than what League could have done is that they could have gave us like they could have gave us Lux, Garen, Jax, while doing Vi, Caitlyn, and all that stuff, but they didn't.
Same with Blitzcrank, and same with so many other characters like who could we like Dr. Mundo, Twitch, like Janna. We could have got more of her. Like they're really just focusing on like less than 10 characters.
less than
which
10
I think is
characters,
really smart.
all within one world. Well, not world, but like kingdom.
What? Yeah,
And
one city.
they introduce the other kingdoms while doing that, and they're like, hey, we're gonna close this book and we're gonna move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it, because now even if people go into the next book and they forget about Vi and Jinx and whatever,
It's fine.
the main characters, people are going to want to rewatch this. They're going to want to reread Arcane or rewatch Arcane or come back to this chapter, and it's going to be enjoyable. I hate rewatching stuff because I remember everything. But Arcane season 1 was so efficient that if anybody was watching season 1 and then they forgot some of the stuff because they don't play League and they don't remember the characters or whatever, and they try to watch the trailer or the recap, sorry, Netflix's recap, you could see how much they put into this in 9 episodes. I think everyone I spoke to was like, "Yo, this was 9 episodes?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's how developed and well structured and organized the story is." And nothing feels half done. It's so good. And I know like I'm like scattered brain about this, but like I used to know League of Legends lore like the back of my hand. But now I'm rusty. But speaking specifically about season 2, that last episode blew my brain out.
I like parts of it. I just didn't like the ending. I think it's
What was
because
the ending?
Aisha. I'm not a big Aisha fan. I kind of wanted her to like get shot in like the first 3 episodes, to be honest.
Oh, I mean, but hey, at least her character took it upon herself.
Yeah, her character's gone, thank God. I agree.
So like, even if you didn't like her character, I think her character played the role that it needed to.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Which is crazy for a character that maybe a lot of people didn't want to care about, didn't feel that was necessary, whatever. Even that character who's not relevant to League played it in and out, perfect. And I'm like, wow, because I kind of felt like that too. I felt like, why was this? I would much rather a character that is relevant to League to be introduced here. I feel like there's so many characters that they could have done and they didn't. But then they just in and out, done. We're done with her storyline. And I think that what they wanted from her story was completely, I think it was maybe 3 episodes. That's it. That's all they did. Other series would have milked it, dragged it, whatever. But no, I think like, as far as your complaints about her, well,
it was all personal complaints. I think story wise she's well written. I like what she did. Came in quick, left quick. It was good. And it was just like a personal clip. I was like, ugh.
The last episode, I think that her 2 scenes were probably the most visually impressive things, because of the way Arcane changed the art style to depict a child's, like, how they visualize the vibrancy and like the art style that she had, and it was so personal to her. I'm like, bro, how much money is in this? Like, it's crazy. And Aisha aside, like, I think like I've never seen a story reflect like you want to say comic accurate. Like Marvel always, the comic people are like, oh my, this character's not Hulk. If this was comic Hulk, he'd be Galaxy Hulk destroying the world. I can't believe he lost it. But in Leagues, when they brought Singed, oh my God, Warwick Singed. Like, okay, so Warwick was one of my favorite things, because I paused when the moment they revealed Warwick, and I described it to my wife. I described Warwick to my wife. I said, if they do this character right, he will be the most terrifying thing you will ever see. He, in the game, and again, this isn't spoilers like that.
They gave him like their abilities and everything. So funny.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Okay, so to give you guys a depiction, and this is like, it's a spoiler, but it's one of those spoilers that I would bring people into the series with. In the game, when you're low HP, this character, if he exists on the map, he gets a blood scent to you. He's a dog he's a bloodhound, essentially, a bio-engineered bloodhound, and he gets a blood trail to you. So even if you can't see, even if you're not on his map, even if you're in the fog of war, even if you just spawned, and your HP is low, if you're less than 15% or whatever, he'll find you. And he runs at you at 150% movement speed. And so he can be from within 10 seconds anywhere on the map, he can run at you. And your screen, if your HP is low, starts glowing red. And it's so scary. Once this thing was first released, I remember being like, oh my god, I forgot they have a Warwick on their team. And then his ultimate ability, it used to be a point and click, but it still is technically, but it allows him to essentially jump in. I don't know if it's still this case, but it lets you to jump and fly over every single thing, basically half the map, scaling with your movement speed. And he'll jump and claw onto you and just maul you to death. If you are under 20% HP, you're insta dead. That's how scary this character is. And I was telling my wife, like, I remember when this character was first changed to this, I was scared. And he's the easiest character to outplay. And he's still that scary. And in the show, he delivered. The moment he was revealed, the fear, the animation, the blood scent, the way they depicted how he visualizes blood. Oh my god. I was like, they nailed it. They nailed it beyond nailing it. The guy who animated that Warwick scene has PTSD. Had to. They played
like, I've been effed over by this champion so many times, I know what it's like.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good show. Who's your favorite character so far? Is it Warwick then?
My favorite character, no, I have so many, because that's the thing about this show. I feel like I've been surprised by how many people, like, I think this show is one of those really good shows to just ask your friends, like, hey, who's your favorite character, and have a whole conversation about it.
Yeah.
Because they gave so much focus onto so many characters. My favorite character, I like Echo, but he doesn't get a lot of focus. I have to watch season 1 again to remember. Jace is okay, but I remember in the first season he was like, meh, like he had a character flip. Victor, I'm liking. But let me see. When
When he became Jesus, I was like, eh.
No, I liked the Jesus part, but not because
Yeah.
of him being Jesus. I liked it because that makes sense for his League of Legends character.
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
the line when he said, because for people who don't know, Victor, he ends up becoming a very important character. He always was an important character, but he is one of the most dominating mid lane characters in the game always. And the problem with Victor is that he's not easy to play. So that's why I like him, because he's a mid to high tier bar skill level character. You can't play him unless you're good at the game. So I respect Victor players. But when you get a good Victor dominating it's you can't win. And he has this line. He goes, "A glorious evolution," and that shit gives me PTSD, because I'm one of my really good friends used to play him, and he just destroyed, and all you'd hear, "A glorious evolution," and he said it in that last episode in a context that made sense, and I was like, oh my god,
Nice.
I want to play this character now.
Yeah, you gotta hop back in.
Yeah, when
I
he
gotta
said that,
hop
I
back
paused,
into League.
and my wife was like, what happened? I was like, he said the thing. And I think that's one of my favorite things about the show, is that in the game, every character has like a one-liner, two-liner, or in-character interactions that they say randomly throughout the game. And I remember them. I know all of them because I played the game so much. And when they say them in this show, it's
nice,
not
huh?
cringe.
And
It's so good.
it's fun seeing like what characters might pop up later. Like for example, Singed. We realize that his daughter is like Oriana.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, like his daughter might come back one day, man, and that could be like a whole another show. It's crazy. Like I love it, man. I personally, I'm a big Caitlyn fan. I think Caitlyn's dope. I love what she's been doing, cleaning up the underbelly of the city. I'm all about it. I'm like, yo, Caitlyn's sick. And then the minute she like switches sides like for Vi, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a big W. Like the minute, I mean, I'm a love story guy. I love love stories no matter what. So seeing like Vi and Caitlyn throughout Arcane, that's been like my personal favorite thing. I'm a sap when it comes to romance, dude.
Yeah, I like Caitlyn. I didn't not that I didn't like the romance. What I'm saying is I didn't like Caitlyn's decision making. But then
I
it was redeemed
loved her
in the
decision making. No, dude,
then it was redeemed in the
I
last
do that
episode.
shit too.
It was redeemed in the last episode because of, her decisions. Um that was fine. It was just like beforehand, I was like, there was just some things I was like, and then I had to rewatch season 1 to like really remember her stuff. I think Jinx is like um I think they did a good job choosing Jinx as the main character of Arcane. And it's weird to say that she's the main character, but she is the main character, without a doubt. And
Yeah.
all the other, there's a bunch of other main characters, and they're kind of like tertiary to Jinx. And it's kind of like a lot of characters either see themselves understanding Jinx or becoming Jinx or realizing why Jinx is the way Jinx is, which is why I like that they chose Jinx as the main character. And that's where Arcane will be really interesting, seeing how they end it, because the reality is that when you start and they did this a lot more in season 1, but season 2 is starting to show it, is that they kind of chose, not to say the weakest block of League characters, but the most like
Yeah,
it.
no, they did. I know what you mean. Like Vi, Caitlyn, and Jinx's story. Well, I guess just Jinx and Vi originally, but like their story isn't the strongest or like deep out of any other character.
Yes,
They're like on a scale of 1 to 10, they're maybe like a 3 or 4.
right. And
It
then
translates well
Arcane
into the
comes.
show though. Yeah, the show
Yeah,
makes him like a
Arc
10, but
yeah, easily. And then on top of that, like it, if anybody anybody who played League of Legends, I think one of their qualms is like, how do you balance the TV show, because the game is so imbalanced. There's so many cracked characters, and obviously it's character selection. You choose certain characters, and the thing is, they're going with like how League started as a game. Like, who are the first characters, and they're kind of doing that. And like Singed is, the way I described Singed was, he is the most obnoxious character in the game. From the entire existence of League of Legends, Singed is the most annoying character. Not a single person I know that plays Singed is like a normal human being, and any streamer who plays it, they're very odd. There's some Singed one tricks, they're
they're
hated
very
players.
odd people.
Yeah, they're very
I
odd.
love that.
But the thing is, because Singed has no attacks, he's literally like. There's few characters like this, but he is the one character that both teams hate having him. Like, sometimes people ban him from being picked on their own team. That's how toxic of a character he is. And
Just an annoying
somehow,
play style.
the way his character works, to briefly describe it, is he has a gas canister that leaks gas, and he has no other abilities essentially besides that, other than running fast and tossing people behind him. So if you try to chase him, you die from smoke, and he doesn't hit you. And you just can't catch him, and you can't kill him because he gets armor buffs and HP buffs. And in this show, they kind of depicted it kind of like that. He's kind of this character that just is in priority places, and he just tosses everybody behind them, and they get fucked up. That's just it. And the last few episodes that they showed, I'm like, oh my god, he just put himself in the most obnoxious spot and just made everyone chase after his ass, and then they all got nuked by themselves. Like, that's literally the depiction of what a team fight is with this guy on the map. And I'm like, that was crazy, because like, how do they show Singed as a character fighting? And speaking of fighting, real quick, just going off of the other stuff, the fighting choreography,
It's good.
oh my god,
Yeah. Arcane, it's like a 10 out of 10 on all regards. Like the Game Awards is around the corner, and there's a category for best adaptation this year, and Arcane was on the list, and it's like, guys, like, why are we? It's like one of those categories where it's like, we know what's gonna win. It's like we know Arcane's gonna win like the award,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh,
Like, I
yeah.
think it's
I mean,
going
it already
against
won
like,
an Emmy.
yeah, it's going against, I think, Lara Croft, and there's like two or three more which I just completely forgot about already. And it's like, yeah, guys, like it's our Arcane sweeps that category. It's gonna win all the awards again. Season 1 did. Season 2 even stronger, and we hit the mark. You know, of the podcast as well. So do you want to like have any closing thoughts about Arcane? Like, what do you think?
Yeah,
I mean, we're going to those last 3 episodes.
Yeah, and we'll do another thing on it. I honestly
would
do a solo thing on it, like a special episode. But yeah, like I think like the last things on it is just like that. I brought this up in a conversation about anime. You asked top 10, and I think that Arcane is new classic, new benchmark for anything moving forward in terms of animation, in terms of music, in terms of story, in terms of plot, storyboarding, in terms of character development, in terms of thematics, in terms of like any category you list, it's there. And character design also, like I think that like this is one of my favorite things, and we've talked about this before. I hate kids shows, child actors, like the whole thing. We've talked about this many times, even outside of Nickelodeon stuff, way before the Nickelodeon stuff. It's just terrible, and that's where animated shows come into play. Like if you wanted to pick children, whatever, we have animated shows, like let's do that. And I think that they did a really good job of showing like mature themes and kids themes and blending it together, like the perspective of a kid, the perspective of an adult, politics. Like they're doing everything in such a intentional way, and it's like I don't know who is on this board meeting, but they need to lock that in and study that, and show Netflix, show Disney, show every single studio across the world needs to study Arcane and learn, because they are the new standard. Arcane is the new standard for everything. We're talking about this is a show that changes their animation style every episode. There's a baseline, and then every character has a perspective that changes the animation style that you don't even see in anime really. And I think that anime would benefit that a lot. We saw this recently with One Piece, where One Piece has its style. We're changing it from arc to arc, but then we get something like the One Piece fan letter that chooses a more childish, like a different art style for the perspective. And it's like One Piece is sort of doing that with like Robin's flashbacks, like where like it's a different style than certain characters, and then like just each flashback is getting a different style. And it's like Arcane is showing how like digital animation does not mean that you lose anything from having real actors. Because my god, if you never watched animated visual stuff because you're like, oh, like it's hard to grasp the emotions, watch Arcane. The way they choreograph character movement, and the way they hug, the way they cry, the way they evoke emotions, I'm confused. I'm like, is this like a real character model, or is this all digital? And I think some of it's real and some of it's not. But like there's like a hug scene between Vi and Caitlyn and in this last season, and I'm like, this is the most like emotionally charged hug I've seen in like fiction, in like TV. This in such a small scene, and it was just so well done, so well like drawn out, and it was beautiful. It was all so beautiful. So definitely go watch Arcane. Me and Sai are gonna talk a lot more about it. I'm gonna play League of Legends very soon. Yeah, it's just amazing. Top
I like
10
that.
Anime,
We're gonna hop
top
back
10
onto the
everything.
field pretty soon.
Yeah, for sure.
I might even play a game after this and just lose more elo. Why not?
Yeah. I'm probably gonna update tonight, but yeah, not play for a little bit because I got stuff. But
It happens, dude.
yeah.
But yeah, hey, thank you guys for stopping by to the I keep on saying podcast, to the 50/50 podcast. We're gonna try to get more of these out. You know, TLDR, me and Par are One Piece YouTubers, but I feel like by the time One Piece ends, we might even like bump these up like more often too.
Oh yeah, easy.
I could totally see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just imagine, like we're kind of sporadic now with the schedule. We're at the whim of a Japanese man right now, but in 3 to 4 years, just wait, dude. Like you guys are gonna get like constant Parcast updates. Shit, dude, it's gonna be like the new Joe Rogan. We're gonna be here like every week, just Well,
Yeah, we're
Joe
gonna
Rogan
have
does like every
guests.
day, but yeah, we'll bring on
Yeah.
guests. We'll be more well produced. Just watch. You
Your
guys are not
friends
ready.
might
You guys
watch
are like
us.
early investors into Poopcoin. Like you guys don't know, like
Exactly.
yeah. Like right now, Poopcoin's like 0.0001 cent, but check it out. In like
We-
3-4 years, it's gonna be insane.
We should have a par coin and side coin for that betting thing that we talked about. Remember how we said like in the future we're just gonna be like, okay, my chicken's faster than yours, and then we're just gonna like buy a chicken. And
Yeah,
then
we should do that, but like obviously not be tied to real currency. It's just like for fun.
yeah, or like do it as far as how real crypto was supposed to be. Like there's people who are like hard selling. We wouldn't do that. It would just be like
Yeah.
it'd be like a bingo club. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
there's nothing
yeah.
wrong with bingo on Saturdays, right? But like 80-year-olds don't know about crypto coins, so like they can't replace bingo with crypto. But our 80-year-olds are gonna do that with crypto, 100%.
Yeah, they're gonna start dealing with our money.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, well, thank you guys again for being here, and we'll catch you all later. Peace out.
Peace.